we can proceed for the next speaker. It's really a duo of speakers. So I introduce Mila, Mitra, and Sovan, Acharya, who are from India. Maybe you have already heard Mila yesterday.
Right.
So she is a co-founder and academic head at STEM and Space, whose aim is to promote interest in STEM through the domain of space. Okay. And Sovan, Acharya, is an engineer by profession, passionate about astronomy. And he initiated a citizen science group who participated in many citizen science projects and have several achievements in terms of citizen science. So today, they are going to explain how we may encourage a scientific temperament in general through the citizen science participation. I'm very glad to hear that. I leave you the floor, Mila and Sovan. Thank you. So you can, I guess you can share your, yes, you can share your screen. So you have 20 minutes.
Thank you, Emmanuel. And are you able to see my screen now?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you, Global Hands-On Universe, for giving us this opportunity for talking about citizen science in India. So I'm here today with Mr. Sovan Acharya, who actually started this group, and we will be talking about how we have, he initiated this group and how we took it forward. So yes, many of us have been talking about amateur astronomy and education, and today we will talk specifically about how a group of us have been doing citizen science astronomy. Okay, so this group is called SA, Citizen Science Group. It was started by engineers by profession, but amateur astronomers by passion, Mr. Sovan Acharya and Ashok Ghosh. So how they initiated this, both of them started participating in all different kinds of citizen science projects, and they gained experience, and they wanted to include more people into this kind of experience. And, so they started a small group. More people started participating in these projects. So it was like a momentum that built up because they introduced some of the projects they were doing, and other people started participating, and there were discussions, and more people joined, and the projects increased, and the scope also increased. So at this point, I'll invite the founder of this group, Mr. Sovan Acharya, to speak a few lines about why you started this group and what was your purpose, and then I'll take the rest of the presentation forward. Mr. Acharya? He was just here. I don't know if he's still there.
I saw his video.
Right.
Not there anymore. Maybe you can proceed, Mila.
Yeah, I'll proceed, and I'll bring him back on. Yes. So Mr. Sovan Acharya and Mr. Ashok Ghosh started this group. Like I said, it was just a few people, and the purpose was to talk more about, to get more people involved in citizen science. That was the primary purpose. Okay, so what were the objectives when they started this group? And this started about 1.5, 2 years back. So the objective was to create a cohesive group to share information about such citizen science projects, because some of us might be involved in some project, somebody has exposure to something else. So it was a discussion forum. And this was a great way of bringing amateur astronomers, students, and people from other professions into astronomy, people who may not be professional astronomers. So this was a good way. And what do such citizen science projects give you? They give you real-time hands-on science exposure. They give you an opportunity to interact with the scientific PIs or the heads of such projects. And of course, all of this, creating such a group itself, increases scientific temperament. Through these projects, you also learn about space missions, observatories, and you build collaborations. So it started off, again, mostly working with citizen science projects. So evolution of the group. So more people started participating in different international citizen science projects. And people were very enthusiastic and knowledgeable because most of these people are amateur astronomers or people who are in engineering or some kind of technical fields. And some people also joined who are professional astronomers or university professors or things like that. So with that synergy, more and more achievements started coming in these projects. I will talk about some of them. Some members were in fact featured in publications that arose out of these citizen science projects. And members were included in the scientific teams. And several participants have now presented in conferences, and the network has grown. So let's talk about some of these kind of projects. So citizen astronomy, most of the projects we are doing are citizen astronomy projects, not necessarily all kinds of citizen science, but just citizen astronomy. Okay, so some project members have participated, and I'll talk about some of the projects we did and what kind of achievements. And again, remember, we are doing many projects. We are all very excited about it. And again, I want to mention that in time of pandemic, when most of us were locked at home, this was quite a lifesaver because suddenly all of us had a group to chat with, all of us had something to do that we were doing regularly. And many of us were doing this very often. Okay, so the first, I'll talk about Zooniverse because of course that is one of the best known citizen science projects. And in Zooniverse, people participated in many programs. Just as a small glimpse, Galaxy Zoo, Cosmological Jellyfish, Planet Patrol, Disk Detective, these are some of the ones. I'll talk in detail about a few of them. Supernova Hunters. So anybody in the audience who wants to follow up with these projects, these are all still active in Zooniverse, and I'm just giving you a few lines about how it works. Supernova Hunters are images taken by the Pan-STARRS telescope. And so how it works, you see 3 images. So these are images taken at a difference of a few years. So once on the left-hand side and the middle one are taken over a few years time difference. And the one on the right-hand side is created by a difference in the images. So basically a subtraction. And that shows you what remains. So this is a difference imaging. And through that, citizen scientists keep looking at images, trying to view and trying to identify the right-hand side could it be a supernova? And many of us are doing this. And again, Mr. Sovan Acharya started this. And some of the achievements are several transients have been identified by group members. And I've just put up a couple of snapshots where several of our group members have been mentioned in the transients that have been discovered. Now talking about another project, the Catalina Outer Solar System Survey. In this, the Catalina Sky Survey has been surveying the sky, looking for TNOs, which are trans-Neptunian objects. And again, these look at the objects of the same patch over months. And once you look at them and you do a time series like this, if you do a time series, you see the little blue squares that show objects in the time series that were not there in a previous time series. So these show objects that are moving, and these identify, and this is a time series over months, and these can identify trans-Neptunian objects. And that is what citizen scientists do in this project. They look at such images trying to identify such tiny moving objects that are seen in the time series. And again, achievement is a recovery of a known trans-Neptunian object, and it was credited to one of our members as a measurer, 2 of our members. Now talking about a non-Zooniverse project, International Asteroid Search Campaign, And again, many people at this conference participate in this. It's a very popular project with students. Through Pan-STARRS telescope, which surveys the sky, students look at, again, time series, but on very short time scales, looking for asteroids and near-Earth objects. And students are able to make original discoveries of asteroids. So this group is regularly participating in this IASC campaign, and they have made discoveries. Many of the participants are also leading their own networks and schools in this campaign, and we have many discoveries. Lastly, the Hubble Asteroid Hunters is also a Zooniverse project. It's a collaboration between ESA and Zooniverse, where citizen scientists look for asteroids in Hubble Space Telescope images. So again, an achievement. This came in the news. It was on the right-hand side of this image, of this Hubble image, you see two streaks that are red and bluish. At the right-hand corner bottom, you see a streak. So these were actually asteroids that were identified, and it was in the news. And again, discoverers include our co-founder, Sovan Acharya. Here's another project that many of us are participating in. It's run by the NAOJ, National Astronomical Observatory of Japan. It's called the Galaxy Cruise. And through this project, we look at data from the large-scale survey program by the Hyper Supreme Cam on the Subaru telescope. And you look for galaxies and identify what shape galaxies they are, whether they're spiral or elliptical, and whether they are interacting. So again, the achievement is that several members have classified more than 1,000 galaxies and have been recognized by NAOJ. AAVSO is variable star observations, but one of these aspects is the solar observations. And through this group, I mean, we already had some members who participated in this, but some others who had telescopes didn't know about this project, but they also started observing sunspots, and they are now listed as regular observers in AAVSO bulletins. So through this project, through the solar part of this project, you report sunspots regularly, and these give a reference to observers. So there's also an Indian citizen science astronomy project called the RAD at Home. That's Radio Astronomy at Home. And this encourages students, it trains them to look at data and to look at big data and learn how to do data analysis and participate in such projects. And again, this group has been active, have been participating in trainings and spreading the word to their students who are now certified. So I've talked about several projects. I would like to talk about how this group has evolved. Like I said, Mr. Acharya had started this group primarily as a citizen science project only. So now where have we come? So the group has evolved. There are a lot of members. There's a large, big momentum in increase in citizen science project participation. How that works is somebody suggests a project and many of us go and participate and keep learning more about the project and advising and talking to other people. So it builds up the interest, and also many members are collaborating. There are informal meets for skill building because some people might be trained in, for example, using the telescope, astrophotography, and so on, whereas others are trained in data analysis, outreach. So resources are being pooled together for making this the scope of this group much larger in terms of science popularization. So I'll talk about some of the group achievements and how it has evolved. So now it's a regular process. Some members set up telescopes during celestial events such as conjunctions or oppositions, or if they cannot do that, then there's a virtual streaming of events. Several members have been publishing in books and magazines, Here is one. There's some members who have been doing astronomy video podcasts, participation in conferences, just like this one. Several members are now mentioned in scientific publications that are published by the PI of citizen science projects. Many of us are doing webinars and public lectures to get people interested, community interested in astronomy. And we have very avid photographers, and they share their experiences, they share how they're taking the photographs so that others can try to also go along this track. And participants have successfully published in reputed websites such as Sky and Telescope, which is shown here. And this is by our member Shomadeep Mukherjee. And once we learn about these astronomy citizen science projects, many of us are also taking it further into our networks to students and other participants so that more people get an opportunity to learn about these and to participate in real-time science, even though they're students or amateur astronomers. So a new citizen science project has been introduced by one of our team members, and this is Spectra Police. And again, that has been now, people are training in it, and students will be participating in this project. So how do we plan to take it forward now that a momentum has built and people are so excited about it? We plan to increase the membership, increase the collaboration and the networking. And we plan to expand the scope because of course this was started for the community. So we plan to increase the outreach for the community. And in fact, in yesterday, also this was mentioned, we plan to have citizen science centers for the community that involve families in different citizen science projects and in outreach and in observation so that more and more people get involved along with their families. And similarly, we plan to create astronomy and science clubs for the community so that people can feel they are learning and feel they can observe and be a part of this. So yeah, I mentioned a couple of projects that Indian scientists are creating as citizen science projects, and we hope more and more such programs are also brought forth. We plan to involve more students to give them hands-on exposure so that they also understand about different missions, about data, about how to analyze data, and what science the data is conveying. So most of the projects I've talked about are citizen astronomy projects. So we would like to also include more projects that are right away associated, such as earth science, climate, and so on. And so that it can include more citizen science in its scope. So as I finish this, I would like to again find out if Mr. Sovan Acharya is back. Then would you?
I'm afraid he's not there.
Okay, so yes, so I would like to thank everyone for being a part of this conversation with me. And this is how we are bringing citizen science to the community and to amateur astronomers so that everybody can take part and understand more. And as I told you, our scope, in our scope, we plan to take it much further in outreach and much further involve more people, take part in more groups and keep the momentum going. So thank you. And these are our references if you want to contact any of us.
Thank you very much, Mila, for this very nice presentation. I'm sorry for Sovan, but I'm sure people will contact him and you directly.
Right.
If you have questions again in the question and answer, I remind also the presenters, so Mila and Mohammed, you have done that already, that you can answer the questions in the question and answer box after your presentation. So there was one question for Mohammed that I didn't ask directly, so he answered by writing through question and answers. So we have like 2 minutes left for questions, and hopefully if Sovan is back, he can make a word. But otherwise, I was just wondering if you can tell us a little bit more about the type of the participants for this group, like their age, their jobs, who is participating?
Yes. That's a very good question, because it's, you know, it's one of the key components of this group. So they are mostly adults, all the way from young students, I mean, students who are in university, to people like us who have been in astronomy for many years and have worked. So the age group is over the whole range of adults, and all the way from students in university, and even now some in high school, to professional astronomers, a few of them. But many of them are engineers and technical people in other fields who are not directly involved in astronomy, who have always been passionate about astronomy. So there are some professional astronomers, there are some university professors and people who lead groups, but 80% of them are people who are amateur astronomers.
Okay, thank you, Mila. I hope you will continue and even grow further. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.